Hi everyone, it's Jackie Schomburg-Minen. I thought today I would tell you what I learned about myself and about collage in these first 4 weeks of the 100-day project. Bear with me on the video. I was very zoomed out here. It gets better in a couple, well, not even a minute. So I decided that I would do simple 100 days of simple collage. And what I mean by simple is simple, just a few pieces. So I've got my giant, bins at this point. I think I'm looking around. I have 3 bins in here full of scraps that were discards from other things or just small wrappers and who knows what else. Who knows what else? A bag of rice. Thank you, COVID. Um, we, uh, I wanted it to be something that was very achievable because I've never actually finished all 100 days and I really want to do it this year. And I wanted to see what I could do, right? Sometimes you get lucky and you get 3 great pieces that work together well. And I wanted to see what I could do with things that don't work together well necessarily and just open up, be free. And this is one of my very favorite ones because of how nicely it ends up. So I look how that orange piece fits in the ring of the blue one, the navy one. Oh, so satisfying. Um, I have been really thoroughly enjoying this. It's another reminder to me, and I want to pass it on to you, that you do have time to make art. And I do have time to make art. Do I have time to spend 4 hours painting every day? No. Do I have time to do a 5-minute collage at my desk and make something that didn't exist before? Yes. Sometimes there are barriers to entry. I know for me, when I'm doing collage, I leave a lot of scraps out. I don't clean up right away. And for me, it feels like, oh, I need to clean off my desk before I start another project. And that would be like, well, that's 20 minutes because my desk is usually pretty bad. Um, and then I don't do it. And then I don't make art. And then at the end of the day, I'm so frustrated with myself because I know that I could have just shoved things over and made art for 5 minutes. And in that 5 minutes, I would have a tiny little, these are 5x7s, totally frameable. If there's something I really like, I can totally frame this. This is perfect for like a powder room. Um, you can use it in many, many places. Have a little group of them somewhere. So really every single time I do this, I'm reminded, A, how much I like collage. I really like taking something and moving it around and trying it on. It's very easy. There's very little cleanup, and there's very little commitment until you actually choose what you want to do, right? I'm not gluing anything down. I can try every single position that I want until I find the one that I like. So that part's very nice. It's very flexible in that way. It's also very nice because, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I have so many scraps of paper that I just don't get rid of because they might be good for something. And this is my chance to finally use those things. I decided that it's time. So I'm no more saving scraps that I think are cool for something different. I'm just going to use them now. So it felt really good to use the pieces that I've been saving for something, just right, quote unquote. And I'll be honest, a lot of these things I don't think are just right. Most of these I would not put on my wall. However, there are a lot of them that I would, which surprised me. I didn't expect it to be quite as enjoyable as it has been. And I think that as an artist, I get stuck thinking if it comes easy and it only took 5 minutes, then it's not credible or it's not art, right? You have to suffer for art. You have to be miserable and angsty, and it should take you months and you should be exhausted, leaning on this painting that's taking forever. A little dramatic, but I often discredit myself and my skills because if it comes easy, it doesn't count. So I'd like to stop doing that to myself because I would never tell a friend of mine, oh, it came easy to you, so it doesn't count as art. What? No, probably the opposite. Probably because it came so easy and you were able to find something out of nothing and assemble it together. What is art if it's not that? So let's stop doing that to ourselves. Okay? And whatever you're doing, if you're not an artist and you're watching this, and whatever it is that you do that you think is too easy for you to get full credit for, let's just stop. I'm tired. I'm I'm old, I'm tired, and I don't like the game, all the games, right? I don't want to count myself as less than I am, and it's hard enough to count myself as I am. I usually default to something less than. And again, when I think about my friends and if my kids talk to themselves the way that I talk to myself sometimes, I would not want that. So, do you have things that you say to yourself that you would feel awful saying to a friend? And if so, stop saying the thing. Pick something else. Find one thing you like about yourself and say that instead. Even if that's you have lovely toenails. Whatever it is, no matter how small, let's just be kind to ourselves. The world will knock us down more than we ever want it to. We don't have to knock ourselves down first. It's very hard for me to, just say, hey, I'm an artist and I like what I made. It's much easier now than it was. It was very hard in the beginning to say that. I would, brush it off like, well, I do this in my spare time. It's just a little hobby, blah, blah, blah. But it wasn't a hobby. It's who I am. I was just doing other things for a living at that time. So over the last 10 years, I've slowly been able to step into the artist role and feel good about it and feel good about saying, hi, I'm an artist. And that doesn't mean everyone likes my art. Doesn't mean I like all my art. I read something recently that said, you'll know you're a serious artist if you have a stack of paintings that you hate nearby or just that aren't very good. Because, right, we try things. We try things all the time that might not work. And I would so much rather live a life that involves me trying things that might not work in art and in life, right? What if I decided to take guitar lessons right now? Something like that. I would not be, right off the bat, a rock star. 100%. I've held a guitar like 4 times in my life. But if that was something that was really special to me and I really wanted to learn it, would I ever think, ooh, I shouldn't learn that because I might not be good? Consciously, I don't think I would, but subconsciously or unconsciously, I think sometimes that happens to us more than we fully appreciate. So if there's something that you really, really want to do and you are actively choosing to not do it, maybe just take a minute and write down why not. Because I would bet there's some sort of fear in there. Maybe fear of not being good enough, maybe fear of getting laughed at, right? Proving someone else right that you're not going to be good at it. That's terrible, right? We never want to prove someone right if they're doubting us. But is that worth you never pursuing what you want to pursue? And in my, my mid 40s, like I'm just getting grumbly and I'm like, I don't have time to worry about other people's opinions of me. If you don't want to look at my art, awesome. Go do your thing. That's not a problem. I'd prefer people that weren't mean and cruel, but you know what? If they have to be, then I'll just ignore them and we'll move on. life is just too short to continue to do things that, well, to not to not do things because of our pride. I'll say my pride. Am I going to, sure, there's some physical injury limitations potentially. Am I going to learn how to do a tightrope walk across the Grand Canyon? I don't think so. But even if I wanted to, I'd still start in the park with a slack line 6 inches off the ground. So, again, you got to be smart. Acknowledge that you are a beginner if you are a beginner, and maybe start slow for something dangerous. But there's no reason that anyone watching this can't pick up 3 scraps of paper and move them around on a 5x7 card and see if you find something you like. And if you like it, you don't have to know why you like it. I don't know why I like this scrap of paper, but I really do. I've been saving it for way too long. And I don't know why. I really don't know why. But I don't have to. One thing that I've done too much in my life is try to have an explanation for everything I do and everything that I like. I want to be able to defend it in front of people. So I want to have a comeback. I want to have a rational explanation for whatever I do so that I can argue back if someone starts an argument with me. Now, maybe that's because I'm a little sister and I have a big brother who's very good at logic and reasoning, and I always wanted to catch up to him, but he's much older than I am. So he was always ahead. So I'm sure that some of that weighs in as well. But we don't have to have justification for our choices. Even, I don't know how it felt to listen to, but even me saying that was like, oh my gosh, we really don't. But do we? No, we don't. If it is something that you really want and it's not hurting anyone else, I don't see why you shouldn't go for it. If you're hurting someone else, that's a different story. Look into that with your therapist, potentially. But there are so many things in my life that I put the limitations on myself. No one else is standing over me saying you can't make a collage every day. I just didn't do it. For 45 years, I haven't done a collage every day. And now that I'm doing it, I'm like, oh, I could totally do a collage every day, right? I can post a reel every day. I can show up to anything. I'm starting a new class right now, a new art class that I'm excited about. I feel like it's really a busy time in my life right now to start this class. But you know what? I'll do what I can. It's better than not taking it. Right? I don't want to wait and keep putting everything off because I'm afraid that I might not be able to finish it, or I might not be able to, I might not learn anything from it, which is obviously false. I'm a firm believer that anytime you take a new class or do another art project or embark with new materials, you will learn something. It might not be what you wanted to learn. If I take oil painting classes, I may not know how to paint the Mona Lisa, but I'll know how to use oil paints. I'll know how to clean brushes. I'll know how to, move the paint around well. I'll know that I cannot put acrylics on top of oils. Just some very key tips to learn. And then I'll go on about my day, and now I have a new skill. Or at least I know what it's like. Speaking of reels every day, somehow I lost the reel for day 17. No idea where it is. I don't think I deleted it, but you know what? I don't know. So that was just a picture for you. And I did find out that was the reason that I was off on my count. So it made me feel a little better that I found the missing link. As I continued to make these, I really started looking forward to them. And I intentionally didn't plan ahead. I would just grab a fistful of papers and spread them out. But I was excited to see what I was going to make. I was like, ooh, I wonder what I'm going to make today. I wonder what's going to happen next. And that was really fun. I didn't expect that because I can clearly see all my materials in front of me. And yet I have so many scraps that I can't see all the scraps at the same time. So I do pull some things out that I've forgotten about or don't even remember that I picked up. It's been very enjoyable to, in two wins really. It's been fun to make these. It's been fun to use up the scraps that I have had for way too long. But if you're like me, I don't like getting rid of my scraps unless I use them because I'm very sentimental. I try not to be with some of these things, however. This is me cleaning out my bottle. I could edit this out. Sorry, guys. And again, if you're new to this channel, I'm using gloss medium to glue all of these down. I get it from Nova Color Paints. You can only buy them online direct from the company. They do not sell in art stores. So the benefit of that is that the paints are much more affordable in larger quantities, and it's nice paint. I don't think they ship out of the US though. Possibly to Canada. I think my European friends have mentioned that they do not ship to the UK and Europe. And people always ask me, not always, often ask me how I make collages and don't get any wrinkles in the paper. And I don't. I do get wrinkles in the paper. The blue scrap in front of me right now is on 80-pound paper. And typically I use that to make my collage paper if I'm using a jelly plate or something else. And that doesn't typically wrinkle. But newspapers, magazine pages, tissue paper, they will wrinkle. I like to use my color shaper because it does flatten things out. It's like a little iron goes across. It doesn't take out every wrinkle, but it takes out enough. And I don't mind the wrinkles. I feel like with collage, nothing's going to be perfectly flat because you're adding pieces of paper that are on top of each other. So you're building up layers of paper. And you'll be able to feel that. You'll be able to see that. And I'm okay with it if there's some little wrinkles. I don't know why I'm okay with it because I am a perfectionist in other ways, but it really doesn't bother me. I think because it's kind of a rustic, probably isn't the right word, but collage does offer something that's a bit more, I'm not going to say this well, quick and dirty. Like there's some sort of there's a little bit of roughness around the edges, right? The edges are literally torn sometimes, all the time in this one in particular. And that is part of the charm. If I wanted everything to be perfectly cut with perfect straight edges, I could do that with a paper cutter, but then I'd be making more like paper quilts and just combining strips of paper or squares of paper or even hole punches of paper. Nothing wrong with that, just not what I'm interested in. I like making these different compositions that I piece together out of nowhere. I'm not thinking about composition in the sense of, oh, I'm going to work with a cruciform composition today, or I'm going to do a landscape or anything else. I'm just moving paper around. You don't have to know why something looks good if you think it looks good. So if you like it, that's enough. Everyone else doesn't have to like it for you to think it's successful. So again, you don't need to explain to anyone why it's actually good. You don't have to explain why you decided to bring out the wax or the grease pencil. You don't have to decide any of those things. You just make the work, do the thing, play, enjoy yourself, and move on. A lot of my goal for this project has been do the thing. So, Jackie, you don't have to make a collage that you love and want to hang on a wall. That does not mean you don't have to wait till that point for something to be finished. Just do the thing. Check the box. You made a collage. Great. Check the box. Move on. And that's given me a lot of freedom that I didn't expect. I do want my art to look great. I think we all do. And this is a 100-day project. This is like very achievable art making for me to use this time. This is not fine art necessarily. It could be. Sometimes sometimes I did make someone that I really liked, but it's not something that I'm trying to sell to a museum at all, or a gallery. I'm moving paper around, I'm gluing it down, and I'm getting out of it the practice, trusting myself, reminding myself that this doesn't have to be hard. Collage does not have to be difficult and tricky and overly delicate. It can be quick and dirty. It can be a bunch of discarded scraps, or just a few. So I'm not trying to talk anyone out of doing collage because it's not, fine art. That's not at all what I'm saying. What I'm saying is I think sometimes we think things are more important or more precious than they need to be. And at the end of the day, it's just paper. Again, it's just paper. Can I get that exact yellow piece of tissue back by making it on a jelly plate again? No. Can I get something pretty close to it using that same color? Yeah. So if I decide that I hate this collage and I can't stand it and I have to get rid of it, I can paint over it. I can get rid of it. And if I need that piece, I can recreate it. And through making these 28 collages for the first 4 weeks, I've never once regretted gluing something down. And honestly, I always thought that I would. I did think that there would be times when I'd say, oh, I wish I hadn't used that for this. Oh, shoot, I wasted that piece. And I haven't. Doesn't mean I won't. There are definitely pieces that are more special to me than others. And sometimes the weirdest thing is that if I haven't used a piece for a very long time, but it's been in my rotation for years, then I start getting that one starts to feel more precious. Right now, there's a scrap that I haven't used yet, but I've been saving it. So now it has to be used for the right thing. Now this was from the rice bag. This was a beast to put on. It was very slippery. It's made out of woven plastic. And my gloss medium was not handling it. So I got out the glue stick finally. And more power to Elmer's glue. That worked. It was really fun also to limit myself in terms of color. The last one was just black, white, and red. And this one is kind of minimalist, but also that cellophane really is a lot. But I loved it. Using the cellophane made it so fun. And adding the red with the cellophane, it really felt rebellious. Like I wasn't supposed to be doing it. Because they shouldn't go together, quote unquote. But I made it work. So let me know if you're doing the 100-day project. I would love to know what hashtags you're using, what your topic is. Keep an eye out for my 100 days of simple collage. Let me know what you think. I'm thinking about also having like a contest that maybe I'll be sending these out to some people. So let me know if that's of interest to you as well in the comments. That one was teeny tiny. I enjoyed that one as well. Now this is the one that I thought, this one is one of my favorites. And this one I actually said, okay, let me just do a landscape. And I wasn't sure how it was going to turn out. But the green kind of mountainy area and the black shadow underneath it, those two went together so well. I wanted to do it. This one also came together very organically. And I put colors together I normally wouldn't, but with collage it's so easy to try them on. So that's it. Thank you all for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day. Let me know in the comments if you're doing the 100-day project, what your project is, and if you would like to join a challenge to potentially get some of these little collages mailed to your door. Thanks everyone. Bye.